Kilmer passed away a few days ago, and we just really quickly wanted to pay our respects to an actor who was a big part of our lives, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and even into the documentary Val that came out in the last few years that gave such an amazing insight into the actor, the man, through his own video recordings. And so I want to pass it over to Jim, who is our resident movie expert and guru, and we're going to go with some of the under the radar Val Kilmer movies, and then we're going to throw a couple of our favorite lines in that Val delivered over the years. But so Jim, I toss it over to you.
Sure. Yeah. So for my pick of the top 5 underrated roles he did. So first one is actually from pretty early in his career in the 80s. It's a neo-noir movie called Kill Me Again. It came out, I think, in 89. It was right after he got married to Joanne Whaley, and they decided to do some projects together, had kind of a Bogey and Bacall thing going. So they decided to make this film noir together, and where he plays a PI living in, I believe, Nevada, and gets caught up in this whole murder plot, a crime plot with Joanne Whaley's character, who's a woman on the run from a crazy boyfriend, has just stolen money. It has kind of all the usual noir twists and turns, but it's a really different role for Val Kilmer, playing kind of a Sam Spade type noir detective guy, and a really overlooked movie, and yeah, good, a really good choice. Highly recommended. Next is going to be the show Entourage. If you ever watched the HBO show in the early 2000s, it's based on produced by Mark Wahlberg and based on his life and experience as a young actor in Hollywood. And Val only showed up in one episode, but he played a character called the Sherpa. I have no idea if this guy's based on real life or not. A lot of what happens in Entourage is loosely based on real life, but he plays this guy who's kind of a hippie leftover, and he's a kind of a pot dealer to the stars. So he's the guy that all the actors in Hollywood go to for a little bit of medicinal aid. And he has this big compound in Hollywood where he grows his own stuff, and he's kind of this zonked out hippie guy, but just a really funny role for Val. And obviously later in his career, he didn't get to show his comedic chops too often, but that was one of his strengths. Definitely was comedy. Next is a movie called The Salton Sea, early 2000s movie. It was very Tarantino-esque, but also had kind of a noir edge to it. He played a guy who was a junkie, part of this group of meth tweakers, but also has a kind of a lot more going on than meets the eye. He has kind of a revenge plot that he's carrying out, and his association with all these tweaker guys is a part of it. I don't want to give away too much of what happens because there's a lot of twists and turns, but it's really well done, stylish movie, and it's a really good performance of his where he's playing this guy who's on the surface just kind of whacked out and goofy, but he actually has a lot more going on underneath. So that's a really good performance of his. Number 4 is a movie called Spartan from the early 2000s. He plays a U.S. Army Ranger who goes on black ops missions. It's actually based on a real special ops soldier in real life, made by the great David Mamet, and really flew under the radar. Went in theaters and made almost no money, but really good performance by him, and really unlike anything else he ever does. He really just kind of plays this quiet, devoted soldier, and who gets caught up in kind of a bigger plot involving the president and his family, and has to figure out where his loyalties lie. But he does a really good job in that one. And personally, I think it's one of my favorite overlooked movies, and I honestly wish it had made more money, because I think he could have spun off a whole bunch of movies with that character. But anyway, and then last is probably his best overlooked performance, and that's in a movie called Felon. It's a movie that I believe went direct to streaming or direct to DVD back at that time, with Stephen Dorff, who plays a man who he has to defend his home against a home invader, ends up in jail on a technicality, and he ends up kind of getting sucked into the prison system. And he ends up bunking with Val Kilmer's character, who is this psychotic mass murderer. But it's really interesting the way Kilmer plays him. He plays him really just kind of quiet and emotionless and dead-eyed, which I think is how a lot of psychopaths are. And it's just a really fascinating performance, because it's almost a person who's barely alive as a human being, and then you can see little hints of humanity and emotion kind of bubbling up over the surface through this character. But he forms kind of a friendship with the main character, but he really is always this. You're always aware of kind of what an evil person this is, and it's a really, really good, interesting performance. So highly recommend that one. So yeah, those are my 5 overlooked ones.
And I've only seen one of them. So, and that would be the Salton Sea. So I'm definitely going to be looking into all of those other ones, especially Spartan's one that kind of went under I mean, I knew it was there, but I never got around to it. And it was one of those, like you said, blink and you miss it in the theaters, and never got around to it on DVD or streaming since. So I'm going to dive into that one. And I've got nothing more to offer in this regard. Just the popular ones from him, obviously, the Doors and Batman Forever. A much better Batman than he was given credit for at the time. Only lasted one, maybe didn't get along with Joel Schumacher. Who knows? The reputation you hear about everybody on sets, whatever. But I think I didn't like his Batman so much, but I really liked his Bruce Wayne.
I agree. His Bruce Wayne was really good. I actually liked, maybe this is heresy, but I like his Bruce Wayne better than Michael Keaton's. I think he brought so much depth and personality to that role. But I agree, his Batman was a little bit lacking. There just wasn't a whole lot of presence there, which Keaton definitely had better. And yeah, it's unfortunate he didn't get to play Batman again. But I think, considering how Batman and Robin came out, I think he dodged a bullet.
And I will not disagree with you on the better Batman. But I Michael Keaton is my favorite overall. I think Michael Keaton handled the Bruce Wayne and Batman personas the best together. So no slight to the Nolan movies, though those were all great. Christian Bale was phenomenal as well. But I just think that going by best individual and then combining. But anyhow, also real genius, Top Secret, just amazing things. But over my shoulder here, I've been listening to a little bit more of the Doors lately, and I just want to throw in, Jim, you can throw in your favorite quotes. I'm going to go with a couple of my favorites from the Doors. But first, I want to share one from another under the radar movie that came out at the beginning of the 21st century, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Shane Black wrote it. It was a nice, probably the first comeback vehicle for Robert Downey Jr. And Val Kilmer and Robert Downey Jr. were phenomenal together. And Val Kilmer as the detective Gay Perry, awesome. And his line, "No, the definition of the word idiot, which you fucking are." Delivered as only, and I did that no justice, but just those lines as by Val Kilmer. Check out Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. And two of my favorite ones from the Doors, and I think that I've said it for going on almost 30 years now. I saw it in college. And I remember I was a huge Doors nut. I'd kind of fallen away from it. But Oliver Stone's movie had its faults, sure, whatever. But I think that Val Kilmer did what so few people who portray real life people, let alone musicians, do. Mm-hmm. He became Jim Morrison.
Oh, completely. Yeah.
He didn't just portray him. He became him. He inhabited Jim Morrison. And testament to that is the fact that he sent Oliver Stone audition tapes, and he said, if you can't tell the difference between me and Jim Morrison, I get to sing the songs in the movie. And Oliver Stone got it wrong more often than not in the guesses. So he did get to do that. So soundtrack songs you hear, it's the actual Doors. But anytime you see him singing in the movie, that is Val Kilmer. Awesome stuff. And just the lines I love best, though, are "Where's your will to be weird?" or "Your will to get weird, man." And my all-time favorite for times when I'm feeling a little chunky, "What's wrong with being a large mammal?" I love that line. Val Kilmer, thank you for those. And Jim and I were talking earlier. Utter any line that he said or anything that he uttered in Tombstone was gold. So I'm not even going to bother. You know the lines, but dig deeper. Don't be an I'm your Huckleberry guy. Go deeper than just this goes to 11 from Spinal Tap. Cut deeper. Challenge somebody to a spelling contest. And Jim, I'm going to turn over to you. What were some of your favorite Val Kilmer quotes from any movie?
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, that was one of his talents as an actor, was being able to just take a one-liner and deliver it better than anybody else. I mean, he could make you laugh, and like derisively at another character that he was mocking. He can make you laugh at him. It's just he really knew how to grab a hold of a one-liner and just absolutely get the most out of it from delivery. So my first pick is also from Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. So Robert Downey Jr. says, they're just having a back and forth. Robert Downey Jr. says, "Do you think I'm stupid?" And he says, "I think you wouldn't know where to put your food if you didn't flap your mouth so much." Yes, I think you're stupid. I'm just like, man, that's the insults I come up with when I'm in the shower, thinking about like a conversation from a week ago. Oh, I should have said that,
Well, when you're working with Shane Black, one of the most underappreciated writers of the last 30 years, probably almost 40 years, you're going to get some good zingers in there. Yeah.
Oh yeah. The lines in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang are just gems, and he knew exactly what to do with them. So yeah, that's one. Another one from Real Genius. Says, "I was thinking of the words of Socrates, who said, 'I drank what?'" The character is having a rough time. So yeah, that movie's a personal favorite for me as a kid. I watched it with my sister a million times because she had a huge crush on Val Kilmer, and that line made us both just crack up every time. And as a young kid, maybe learn about Socrates as well.
It's a teaching tool. Yes, very good.
Exactly. So, and then my last one is from Top Gun, and it's just bullshit, which Val improvised apparently, and I think honestly stole the scene, and that's a perfect example of he didn't even want to do that movie. He didn't want to be playing second banana to Tom Cruise. And as anybody who's seen Val, the documentary Val knows, their egos were like this the whole time, because they both just thought they were the hottest kid in the room. But Iceman is a prime example of how you can take a role that's supposed to just be backup and just steal every scene with the delivery, with the improvisation, with just the utter cool he brought to it. Top Gun was Tom Cruise's movie, but every time Val would show up, he'd be like, "Tom who? I don't care. Let's hang out with this Iceman guy for a while,"
And even though he unfortunately could not speak the way that he wanted to in Top Gun Maverick,
mm-hmm.
Stealing a scene, and just by uttering, "Who's the better pilot?" Come on, and
absolutely,
Val Kilmer. So many roles. Thank you so much for that. Rest in peace.
Yes.
All over the place, where the fun sanity never ends.